Hello class. Well, my name is Daniel Mujica. I will be your instructor in environmental science for this semester spring 2023. Welcome to everyone and to each one of you. Well, environmental science, as the title of the course indicates, has to do with all the science that in somehow allow us to analyze the issues that are related with environmental science and how to find the solutions for the challenges that we have from the environmental point of view. This picture that you see in the front cover of this presentation is the same one that you have in your dashboard in Blackboard. This is a picture that I took a couple of years ago from a tower in Sheldon Lake Park. This park is located in the eastern side of Houston, really close or next to the Highway 99 when you are driving towards to the George Bush Airport, International Airport. So the time that I took this picture was very early in the morning, was a rising of the sun that day. And as you can see here in the background, at the very far perspective of the picture, you can see here the refineries that are located very close to the coast of Gulf of Mexico in Galveston side. The composition that you see of the sky is not a real look of the sky at the moment that I took the picture, but this is a composition that is built from HDR technology in photography. So I took several pictures with different exposure and then I stacked all of them to create this effect. And the effect that I create is just to send the message that if we are not taking care of the amount of emission of greenhouse gases in the troposphere, so probably in some moment in the future, I don't know, it's near or from or very far from our life, but if we are not going to take the corresponding care of what we are emitting to the sky, well, probably we are going to face the situation for our future generation that they are not going to be able to see a very nice rising of the sun as we used to see every day or in many beautiful days that we have today. So that is basically the message behind this picture, just to motivate to all of you of what we're gonna do during this semester. I'm not going to detail about me, neither the structure of the course, because that is something that we are going to extensively discuss in our first meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow. And actually, at some moment, very early tomorrow or late today, I will send you a web link to join the section or the web meeting that we're gonna hold tomorrow. At some moment, I propose 7 p.m. This is gonna be the unique meeting because this is an online course. I'm not going to ask you guys to be connected in any virtual meeting with me. But at least for the first section, we're gonna have something that will describe you about the content of the course, also the grading system, and more importantly, about the tools that we're gonna use within this course, which is Mastering Environmental Science from Pearson. a tool that you already have available in your Blackboard course anytime, probably at the end of today or very early tomorrow, January 17. My intention with this video is just to make a brief introduction from the technical side about the environmental sides. So the environment, the ones that we have today and that we can observe today in our planet, I mean the landscape that you are able to see every day when you are out of your home, okay, together with the sky that is above you, have been the result of a geological evolution of the planet that has been taking place in about 4.5 billion years. And because the amount of, or the number that represent that time is so big, so we're gonna refer to that time in this class as geological time. But one of the things that is true is that we have been able to track the history and the behavior of some of the characteristics that are related with our planet that will allow us to make the analysis or the corresponding analysis of how so many portions of the environment has been in relation with the emissions that we emit to the atmosphere, and basically the lower part of the atmosphere, which is the troposphere. In this graph that you see in this slide, we have different curves. The one that is in the bottom has to do with the history of behavior of temperature in the outer part of the planet, which is the lithosphere, in the last 800,000 years. So you're gonna ask me where that data is coming from. That is this project that was acquired some time ago by some scientists here in United States. They took samples from the inner part of the Earth, and from those samples they were able to reveal the history of the temperature changes in the last 800,000 years. But also they did the same for some of the emissions that we use to trigger into the atmosphere some greenhouse gases. One of them, the carbon dioxide, CO2, the other one is the methane, propane, and so many others. But here in this graph, you can see the emissions also of the CO2 and the methane. And you can see that the pattern of the three curves are very close related. Actually, if you overlap the three curves, the black, the green, and the red, they almost overlap perfectly. That means that whenever we have an ups or downs in the temperature in the last 800,000 years in the planet, we also have up and downs in the emissions of those greenhouse gases, like the carbon dioxide, which is telling to us from the scientific point of view that there is a very close relationship between the changes in the climate and the emissions of greenhouse gases in the Earth. But more than that, it is also open and a very big table of discussion in which we can make a lot of analysis about that data that will allow us, from the analysis and processes of that data, to make forecasts of what might happen with emissions of those gases in the future and their impact in the temperature and as a consequence in the climate. This is one of the objectives in environmental science, among other ones that we're going to review in the progress of this semester. As I mentioned before, environmental science is really the conjunctions of different disciplines that is coming from the science with the only objective of solution of environmental issues that we have today. One of the environmental issues that we have today are all the challenges that we are facing with the climate. We have disruptions in the climate, and we need to understand why those disruptions today are taking place more frequently and what is the cause of those ones. Many areas of the science, they make a contribution to environmental science, but geology is one that is very important. And the reason that I mentioned to now in this introduction geology is because it is extremely important to have an idea how the planet have evolved in almost 4.5 billions of years to get what we have today. Because in that configuration resides all the landscape that we can observe, but more than that, the energy resources that we need to sustain our life today and also for the lives of the future generations. So what we have today in the surface, which is the landscape that I'm making reference to, okay, the oceans, the mountains, volcanoes, Amazons, all what we can see today that configure all what we can share with our people is only a very small portion of all the depth that we can find from the surface to the center or middle of the planet. So in really 40 kilometers out of the probably 6,000 kilometers that is the radius of the Earth, we develop our landscape. And in that landscape is what we are going to observe most of the disruptions that are created in the environment. So it's important to know a little bit about the geological evolution of the planet to understand that what we have in our continental crust and the oceanic crust is the result of solid material that has been buried in depth at very high temperature that eventually they rise to the surface as a new material to create the new lithosphere. When they are rising to the upper part, they're going to be a less denser material, bringing many of the minerals that conform our rocks that we have today. And many of the minerals that are going to be a fundamental portion of the sources that we are going to use today as energy sources to sustain our life. Okay, so some of those minerals are going to be used to build the microchip that you have in your laptops, iPhones, and so on, just to mention a couple of things. So that is very important to understand how those sources has been created, because we want also to create procedures to sustain them in the future and also in the present time of our lives. So as I mentioned before, all that material dies from the surface to the inner part of the earth, and then eventually is going to rise as a very hot material, less denser, to create new lithosphere. And all that geological evolution of the planet has been making a configuration that is the actual one that we have today. But about 200 million years ago, the configuration of our planet was different. We were only just one continent that was called Pangaea, but because of that dynamic process of the geological part of our planet, all those continents today are placed far apart. And these boundaries are the ones that are shown over here. Those are the tectonic boundaries. But that is not the scope of this course. It's just to give you an introduction that the configuration that we have today has been the process of a geological evolution of a big continent that in the past was called Pangaea, and used to have everything attached, but today everything is apart. But not only the planet today is the result of this process, it is also another process that has been introduced by humans that is in connection with this one. And some of those processes has been very positive for our life. That is something that we need to mention that. But some other has been in the other direction. And those are the disruptions that I'm talking about. And the ones that we are very interested in this course are the disruptions that have to do with the environment. The ones that are going to adversely affect the configuration of our environment. One disruption is going to be the climate, and that is something that we're going to address in some of the chapters later on in this semester. Well, this is just a brief introduction about this course of environmental science that will comprise the reviews of about 16 chapters, one chapter per week. Okay, so here are the number of the chapters that we're going to be reviewing during this semester, all the way down to the final one that have to do with the population in the earth. Okay, so we're going to start mention something about the population, our population in the earth in chapter 1 and chapter 13, but then we're going to retake that subject with more details to close this course at the end of this semester that is scheduled to take place sometime in May. Well, guys, I hope that all of you are going to enjoy this course, and also I hope that everybody is going to join the virtual meeting that I'm going to submit the invitation sometime later today or early tomorrow. Bye-bye.